In this video, we're going to discuss what exactly the stock market is. Most people are confused about it, so I'm going to explain it in the simplest way possible. And I've got some interesting stories to tell you, like when did it start? Why did they create it? Even the name Wall Street has a story behind it. Why is it called Wall Street? We're going to cover all of that. Okay, what is the stock market? We have a market for everything. We have a market for cars, we have a market for fish. Likewise, we have a market where companies are divided into billions of share pieces. Imagine a big cake that is divided into many pieces. Likewise, in the real world, Apple is divided into billions of pieces. Google is divided into billions of pieces. Nvidia is divided into billions of pieces, and many other companies too. They are selling those small pieces, and you can buy them. There is a place for that. That is called the stock market. That's it. It's super simple. Once you own a small piece of a company, for example Google, you own a small percentage of ownership in that company on paper. I mean a super tiny percentage of ownership. If Google performs well, the value of your small piece rises, and you make some profit. So that's the concept. Have you seen this bull? I guess you might have seen this bull in the news, or sometimes in movies. That bull is near the New York Stock Exchange on Wall Street in New York. That's where stock trading became famous. Just like how transactions happen in a vegetable market. Somebody buys carrots, somebody sells potatoes, somebody buys broccoli. Likewise, people buy and sell company share pieces in the stock market. There are two major stock exchanges in the US. One is the New York Stock Exchange, and another one is NASDAQ. Both are based in New York. And if you want to buy shares for yourself, you need a brokerage account. Once you set that up, you will be able to buy whatever company share pieces you want. And the stockbroker maintains your shares on your behalf. Why was the stock market created in the first place? Let's discuss that. There is an interesting story behind it. The story begins in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam, with a company called the Dutch East India Company. They bought valuable spices for lower prices in Asian countries like India and Indonesia, and they sold those spices in their homeland, the Netherlands, for higher prices. But there was a problem. In 1602, the company needed money to send ships around the world and maintain their crews. Instead of raising money from a handful of wealthy investors, they did something revolutionary. They sold ownership shares to ordinary people. For the first time on a large scale, ordinary citizens could buy shares in a major company. People became very excited because the company shared profits with shareholders through dividends. So the Dutch East India Company's shares became valuable among people. Soon, these ownership certificates started being traded among investors. And the Dutch East India Company became one of the richest companies in human history. Some estimates suggest the company peak value would exceed $7 trillion in today's money, making it one of the most valuable companies in history. That is actually insane when you think about it, because it was larger than most of the world's biggest companies today. And that's how the Dutch East India Company helped lay the foundation for the modern stock market we know today. They popularized the concept of public ownership. Not only that, there is another fascinating connection with the Dutch also. Now we all know New York, but in history, it was a Dutch colony named New Amsterdam. The Dutch settlers were worried about attacks from rival European powers and conflicts with local tribes. Around 1653, they built a wooden defensive wall across the northern edge of the settlement for their protection. People say the wall was around 12 feet tall, and there was a dirt road behind it, and then people started calling it Wall Street. Even though the wall disappeared long ago, the name still exists today. So the interesting thing we have to note is that the Dutch people were behind the first push toward the stock market, and they were also the ones behind the name Wall Street. And fast forward to 1792. According to legend, 24 brokers signed the agreement under a buttonwood tree on Wall Street, and that gave birth to the New York Stock Exchange that we know today. That's it for this video. If you want to learn more about the stock market, check out my other videos on the channel.